You just did.
There we go.
And as you hear the intro, you know this is the Roto Hackers podcast. We are your unauthorized reporters of fantasy football, news, and entertainment. My name is Judah Buddha. Oh, we don't have our little name bees. Judah Buddha. Next to me is AJ Herschel, the kid. And also, it's Jared. And we are... Oh, and he is the absolute stud. He loves relish. And we are going to talk a little bit.
It.
he loves spoon feeding it to me. So we are going to talk a little bit about the news. I think there's some interesting stuff today. We got Sawyer in the comments already. Hey, Sawyer, stick around. We're going to do a little draft-a-majig. So, there's some interesting things going on, and I think we need to address them. And then we're going to do a little mock draft, because I think some of our listeners would probably enjoy, and I would enjoy, doing another... We did one before, right? We did a auction draft.
We did an auction about a month ago, yeah.
So I think we should do another one.
Right. Are we doing but we're doing a snake tonight?
No, auction. You want to do snake?
I mean, an auction's going to take forever. It's the only. I mean,
yeah, that's true. Yeah, let's just do a snake.
I mean, we can do I don't mind doing an auction, but we just probably need to do it on a Saturday morning because, like, that will take forever.
Yeah, I don't really want to spend 2 hours doing that. Yeah. Okay, good point. Are you cool with that, doing snake? AJ Herschel?
That works. I checked back at our I was looking at how long our podcast had been actually before this episode, and I was like, hour 15, 50 minutes. Okay, 2.5 hours for the auction mock draft. So yeah. Especially
I mean, we're East Coast time, so
right.
We'd be looking at like 1:30 in the morning or 1:00 in the morning.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll just do snake tonight.
I need to leave this draft. Sorry. Okay. So before we get to the draft, let's get to a little
news in the NFL today.
And AJ Herschel had to take a break, I guess. So the big news is all the people that are coming off the roster either choosing not to play this year or have COVID. And they've even established a IR spot. It's like a COVID IR spot, right?
Yeah.
And
or a COVID list. I don't know if it's a... Wait, are you talking about in fantasy, or you're talking about in the actual NFL?
In the actual NFL, it's some kind of IR thing.
Yeah, I don't know that there's a limit to the number of players you can put on it, but but it is like specifically a COVID list where they're out for 2-3 weeks, whatever.
But it's maybe not an IR, but like a PUP or something like that. They have a name for it. I'm trying to find it.
Yeah. Well, I think you're right. I mean, I think it does mention COVID in it, and then they have to stay out for 2 or 3 weeks or something like that. So, yeah.
Which is interesting because the CDC just announced that they lowered the amount of days to 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
So
right. I think they're probably just being like extra cautious. I mean. Yeah, I think 2 weeks would probably be good. I don't know why they're doing 3, but
okay. So the main one. So everybody's talking. Well, the other thing is that Dalvin Cook looks like he's showing up, and he's going to be not even going to miss a beat. Let me see what There's just a lot of COVID concerns. Trying to find out what the actual. There's a lot of opt-outs. So somebody raised. Oh, I gotta find this. Somebody suggested to me that. Oh, it was actually Shefty who posted. I gotta find this because it's. I think it's appropriate for what we're talking about. If I can find it, yeah. So he said, and I quote. If I can find it. Okay. Actual text. So this is Shefty. Actual text exchange with NFL executive today after sixth Patriot opted out. Him. You know Bill is masterminding all of this somehow. Me. For what reason? Him. I don't know. That's why he is who he is. So,
What?
And even before I saw that, my friend was saying that Bill is definitely tanking for
Trevor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the theory.
But do you think there's validity to that?
I mean, I would never put anything past Belichick and the Patriots. I don't know though that, I mean, players are taking a pretty good money hit on that.
Are
so
they?
I don't know
I
that
didn't know
they
that.
would. I don't know that they would necessarily do that unless he's also got some sort of deal where he's going to pay them under the table.
He's like
Which
slipping them.
I don't know if I would rule that out either. But
Oh, really? Wow. Okay.
I mean, you look at everything else that's happened, and it just doesn't seem to. I mean, people are just like, but he's a great coach. We'll let it slide. So, I don't know. I mean, he's getting towards. He's closer to the end of his career than the beginning. I think it's fair to say, and so I don't know. But I don't. I would at this point, like, I'm not particularly inclined to see a conspiracy there yet.
What do you think, AJ?
He's smart. I don't know what else to tell you. There's a reason why you have other coaches who get a lot of wins and other coaches who win 4 Super Bowls, and he single-handedly tied the Steelers' record for most Super Bowls. You don't do that by being a bad coach. So I don't know what he's got up his sleeve. I remember there was a joke before the draft came out that he was going to hack the Zoom call for the draft, and that way he would be able to get Tua. But if they tank, it would not surprise me at all. It would make the Cam Newton signing weirder, especially with a 1-year deal. That would definitely make it strange for sure.
Would it though?
It would to me, because you're drafting Cam Newton. You're signing Cam Newton. That makes it seem like you're trying to stay competitive at least a little bit to me.
Which really plays into the whole specter of it all.
True.
The Kabuki theater. As he probably, the smarts that he has kicking in saying, Cam's not going to be nothing, and just let him go out there and, try his best. But there's no way he's going to help us win.
The thing is, though, if they were bad enough to get the number 1 pick, if they only had 3 wins or something like that, that's going to be very obvious, because I don't care. I don't care how bad that. I don't care how bad that roster is. Bill Belichick is a good enough coach to get them to 5 wins at minimum. Yeah, I mean that's lowballing it.
What about this? What if he doesn't expect it to be a full season, and all he has to do is lose the first 5 games?
That's very possible.
Possibly, but you're almost getting into some like Joker Batman style plans where there are all these things that he has to predict that a real human being probably couldn't predict that, but for a fictional story, they let him be right on all of them. I just don't think that he's got, all of these things lined up that way.
Well, I have a list. Do you think we should go through the whole list
Of players?
Yeah, that are not going to be playing?
I mean,
it's this long list and then a list, and then at the bottom it's Washington RB Darius Geis tweeted that he's going to be able to play this year.
well, I mean, I think we can talk about some of the skill players, but I mean, I think there's a couple of things overall that we can kind of, without having to go through all of them and maybe focus more on the skill players. There's a few things we can point out, like I think it was one of the Vikings linemen opted out. Pretty good lineman. That's going to be really key to watch on the lines because, those guys are heavier and, being overweight is one of the complicating factors for COVID. So it makes sense that some of them would want to. So that's something that, you could have, that they're not skill players. They're not guys who are going to be on your fantasy teams, but they could either affect your fantasy teams or affect the schedule for your guy. Because if your guy has a certain week 15 matchup for the playoffs and the opposing team's 2 starting interior linemen opt out for the season, then suddenly that becomes a pretty attractive matchup. So I think that's one thing. And then on the flip side of things, if your guy starts, if he's a running back or quarterback and he starts losing offensive linemen, then you would have to, look at downgrading his stock. And then just the other thing I'll say on kind of the overall thing is the Patriots defense went in usually ranked about 5, 6, somewhere in there. And they're starting to now lose multiple guys, and Dante Hightower just opted out. So that's
Kyle Van Noy too, right? I think.
Yeah, they've had multiple guys. I don't remember who they are other than Hightower. It could be. I'm sure we can look it up. But
I don't see him on the list, but maybe my list might be old. Who is the Ravens guy you're talking about? Because the Ravens guy I was looking at he plays with Cowboys now.
I didn't mention a Ravens guy, but
who did you say?
I was talking about a Vikings defensive tackle.
Okay, yeah.
So that would be, as far as like overall news about it, that's not really tied specifically to skill players. Those would be the kind of the things that I've noticed from it. So I would, watch for fantasy players, even if it's not skill players, you need to pay attention to who's opting out of how it could affect your guys. And then, as far as a team unit specifically, like the Patriots, I would, probably downgrade a couple of spots already on the overall list of team defenses because of some of their opt-outs.
Anything to add that, AJ?
Eddie Goldman's out for the Bears, and that makes me sad. But other than that, they've got enough players on defense, fortunately, to make up for it for the most part. It's going to hurt, but I don't think it'll be that bad. Otherwise, there wasn't that relating to COVID and football and opting out. I haven't seen any gigantic names drop out yet. So
it's
kind of the tentative line so far.
Yeah. Though as far as not opting out, but I'll say this. The interesting ones for me for opting out are the Patriots to do with the running back because I think
Brandon
Bolden and but also their interior line. No, it's their right tackle maybe. But it's somebody on their offensive line opted out. So Brandon Bolden being out, and actually I saw what's his name, the guy from Georgia, the other running back for the
Sony Michel.
Yeah, Sony Michel, also saying he doesn't think he's gonna be able to start the year off. He's gonna start off in the pup probably.
Interesting.
I mean, that continues to. I'm holding on to Damian Harrison because. It just is looking, all things go for him, unless, like you said, Jared, unless if their defense and their offensive line are just wrecked, that's going to be hard for a running back to be a big time producer.
Well, and the other thing too is, there's still always the possibility. I mean, I think it's worth holding on to Damian Harris, but there's still also the possibility that maybe they sign someone like Devonta Freeman. I don't know that, with the team that they have this year, that they want to make that move. But it's a possibility.
It's a possibility, but I think Belichick was already looking at Damian Harris to have a big role. He likes him, from what I read. What do you think, AJ? Anything to add?
See, I just don't trust Patriots running backs. It's probably nice to get Harris simply because of the Patriots running back depth. And if enough of them opt out, get injured / get coronavirus, that's big for him. But at the same time, like if you just put him in a situation with 5 other running backs, it worries me because who knows when Belichick's going to decide to just pull him out, put somebody else in, because you still got at the most you still have what's his name? If Bolden opted out, whatever. If Sony's back,
Rexy?
Rex Burkhead and James White ahead of him, and James Down's the passing back, but still.
Yeah, but see, I think James White and Rex Burkhead will sort of contend for the third down, third down receiving type role.
James White's the receiving back, but remember, Rex Burkhead's the guy who steals everybody's touchdowns. He's the one who gets the goal line carry. So if Damian Harris is just eating yards, that's not enough to entice me yet. I think it's a good choice to get him, especially as a handcuff, just in case something goes wrong with New England. But if New England was at full strength, it would worry me. But I'm okay with him right now.
Okay, there's also one. The other thing I had mentioned, was that we're for sure going to see Cook play. What's his first name?
Dalvin.
Dalvin and the Chipmunks is going to play, and so I think a lot of people got him cheap. I mean, if people got him in the second round, that's pretty cheap for his kind of production, especially from last year.
If you got him in the second round, I don't know how you did.
Yeah, I never saw him go. Now, in auction drafts, maybe he went a little bit cheaper, but I never saw him go second round in snake drafts.
Yeah, same.
When the news came out that he was going to be, when the news came out that he was going to hold out, I saw him fall to not far, probably in the turn or a little bit at the top of the second round, but I never took him unless he dropped it to the second round. Of course, I never took him, so I don't know. But even at the bottom of the first, I think it's pretty good. It's a pretty good deal. I'd take him over. I mean, at this point, I'd take him over a whole handful. Mixon. I'd take him over. That's probably all. I know you guys would take them.
What about Josh Jacobs? Cook versus Josh Jacobs.
I probably would take him over Josh Jacobs. Maybe. It'd be a toss-up for me, but I know you guys would take him over a lot of those guys. Chubb and all those.
To a point.
You wouldn't. What do you mean?
Dalvin Cook is a calculated risk because he is very injury prone. He's had hamstring injuries for the last 3 years. That worries me. That scares me a lot. So that it's a calculated risk, and I'm not saying when he's healthy, he's a top 5 running back for sure. So if I knew he was going to be healthy, I'd take
injury his rookie year. He had a he blew a
tore his ACL.
Tore his ACL. Okay, even worse. So none of that makes me confident in his ability to stay healthy, which is a deal breaker for me. But if he fell to me at like pick 9, I'm not going to not take him because Dalvin Cook at healthiest is still one of the best running backs in the league. So I like him a lot, but it's a lot tougher for me to make the decision between him, Mixon, Jacobs, because I know he's had leg problems. Would I still take him over the 3? Yes, but it makes it harder to make the decision.
Yeah, he's a calculated risk in the sense that you're always having to calculate when he's going to get injured during the season.
I guess I'm just not one to worry too much about injury, just because it's so. I mean, everybody's injury prone, and it's football, and it's almost impossible to figure out when they will get injured. So, but I understand where you guys are coming from. There was one. Oh, there was some news again. There's more. Oh, you had something, AJ?
No. I was just trying to see if this is the news you're going to mention.
What?
No. You say it. You say it. 'Cause
Oh.
if not, I'll just wait until afterwards.
Mine's not big. It was just a little bit more
Okay,
buzz about Naheem Hines getting looking like he's going to get a lot more targets. Rivers liking him, talking about targeting him, stuff like that. I don't know. I tend to be sort of a Naheem Hines truther, but I like all those. I don't like all those. I don't like Taylor, so I don't know what you call that. Like the anti-truther of Taylor.
You don't like Taylor at his draft
Interesting.
position. You mean, right? Or
Yeah.
you don't like him at all?
That's a good question. I don't like him at his draft position.
Okay.
I don't like him at all.
Oh,
Wow.
I think Swift is a better player, and
Which he is.
And I actually think he's in a better situation. So I just don't like. It's not that I don't like him. I guess he's probably fine, but I don't like.
it's fascinating to watch you just watch you think out loud here. You know, like I just don't like him in his draft position. No, not at all. Wait, well, I guess maybe I'm being a little hard on him.
I know it's hard for thinkers like you. Watch a feeler think about things. You know, I'm analyzing my feelings, not any facts.
Okay.
Not any.
Yeah.
I need to write that down. I'm analyzing.
Right.
Feeling.
I saw Ford post something the other day, and his quote with it was "No data, just hunches." Like that could be your tagline too. Just no data, just hunches.
Yeah. That's not inaccurate.
Hey, real quick, if you want, I found the article about the COVID list. So if you want, I'll just try to read through it real quick, and I may kind of process the highlights as we go here. Okay, so the NFL has introduced a new type of transaction for the 2020 season. It's a reserve / COVID-19 list. A number of players were placed on that list Monday. It's let's see. It's the team set. Okay, well, this is the Vikings. Vikings saying that it's the list is used for players who have tested positive or players who are quarantining because they came into close contact with someone who did test positive. So if you get on it, it's not necessarily because you have it. So it just basically goes through some of that stuff. Says clubs may not disclose whether a player is in quarantine or positive. Due to an agreement between the NFL and the NFLPA, teams will not disclose whether or not a player tested positive. So, so let's see. A player can be moved. That's not really irrelevant. So I guess the news there, one of the let me just finish off here. The NFL has yet to reveal how long a player will remain on the reserve COVID-19 list. In Major League Baseball, a player needs they misspelled that wrong. They said TWO receive. Needs to receive 2 consecutive negative tests before they can return. So that's not really good because you don't know. We're not going to it doesn't really help to know if they went on it he's going to have antibodies now. No, he may not because he may have just been near someone who did. And then we don't know how long they're going to be on there. So it's probably not going to be a fixed amount of time. There's probably a fixed amount of time within that. I would say about 2 weeks. But then if they've had it, then they've got to test negative twice. And maybe that could be, who knows? So anyway, that's some info about that.
That's interesting. Okay. Well, so do we know if Jeffrey what's his name? Jeff? No.
Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson, yeah. If he was actually diagnosed or not? because
don't
I think
think
he'd
so.
be an interesting one to draft.
I thought the same thing because he was already, sort of an appealing rookie because he's in a situation where he could immediately get a bunch of targets with Stephon
Yeah.
Diggs gone in Minnesota. And so when I saw that, I was like, oh, well, yeah, that might bump his stock up a little bit. But unless it's out there somewhere on the internet, I haven't seen it, whether or not, he tested positive or just came into contact with somebody. So I'm sure if you could go to these guys' Twitter accounts,
You might be able to figure it out.
well,
Yeah.
I don't know if you could figure it out, but I was just going to say, you're probably going to have, people tweeting at them constantly, like, dude, I got you on my fantasy team. Did you test positive? I need to know so that I can, because it's like that with when players hold out, it's like, Melvin, when are you coming back? I've got you on my fantasy team. So anyway.
Okay, well, it'll be interesting. Was there anything else?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
So so I kind of did an overview of like the linemen that, could be opting out or, how it affects the Patriots defense. But in terms of fantasy, something that's, maybe a little bit more relevant to a handful of players is the fact that Eagles wide receiver Marquise Goodwin opted out. They traded, made a trade with the 49ers to get him because, Philly was just so thin at wide receiver last year. Alshon Jeffrey's hurt as always. He's going to start the season probably on the PUP list and missed 6 games or so. They drafted Jalen Reagor, and then Deshaun Jackson is back for however long he can stay healthy. But Goodwin opted out, and then for the Packers, Devin Funchess, who they didn't take a receiver in the draft, or at least not high in the draft. But they signed Funchess to sort of be that number 2 guy opposite Devontae Adams. They didn't really have anyone last year. And then he opted out too. So those 2 guys, probably not a lot of people are drafting those unless you're in a deeper league or a best ball league or something like that. So it's not necessarily about them specifically, but I think it does affect their quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers and Carson Wentz, to a certain degree, because they're both sort of, fringe top 10 guys, usually maybe being drafted as like the 11th, 12th quarterback, somewhere in there. Those guys don't have a ton of weapons as it is. And so when you lose one of those guys, I think that's going to have an impact. And then on the other side of things too, is then you look at who's behind them who could make a fantasy impact. And so I think that makes Jalen Reagor even more appealing because, it's tough for rookie receivers to come in. Every once in a while you get if they're not like an elite talent like a Julio Jones, a lot of times they don't make an immediate impact. But we saw last year with Terry McLaurin, he did. So it can happen. Then the other thing too, though, is, this year with them not having the same amount of time to work with their quarterbacks in the preseason and stuff, it's worrisome. But in a situation like his in Philadelphia, where Goodwin's gone, Alshon Jeffrey's going to be out, who else do they have? Deshaun Jackson. Yeah. So I think Reagor's more appealing now. I'm not sure how much of a threat Marquise Goodwin ever was to him, but I think that experience might have, made a difference. So I think he's more appealing. And then if you're looking deeper, possibly Alan Lazard in Green Bay, where he was, sort of getting some attention last year as a number 2 wide receiver. And now with Funchess out of the way, maybe he takes a step forward. So just a couple
what about Devontae Adams? Do you think that gives him more? He was probably oversaturated as it was, but does that help or maybe it hurts him?
I don't know that it really makes a difference for him. I think his targets are going to be there. If he stays healthy, he might get 160 targets or something. But I think like him and Michael Thomas, guys like that, like their targets are just, they're going to be there regardless.
I just thought about with Funchess out, big tall guy in the middle. What's their tight end's name? It's like Stackyard or something.
Sternberger, Jay
Sternberger.
Sternberger.
Jay Sternberger is starting to look a little more attractive to me. If you need if you're hard up, but of course there's so many.
There's so many good young tight ends. Yeah.
Okay, there's a couple more things, right? What were you going to say, AJ?
Well, I was going to say really quick, it doesn't really matter so much for skill positions, but when we're talking about defense, we didn't get to talk about Jamal Adams is now in Seattle.
That's
for
right.
a ridiculous amount of draft picks. It's crazy.
It was just high draft picks, right? It was only like 2.
Seahawks gave up a first-round pick next year, a first-round pick the year after, a third-round pick next year, and safety Bradley McDougald for Jamal Adams and a fourth-rounder.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That is a lot, but like I said in our thread, I'm starting to think that I used to think the Seattle was just they're not that tough of a defense. Now I'm starting to think might start worrying about them.
Mm-hmm.
That is the question, though. Because sorry, you about to say something?
No, go ahead.
That is the question, though, because I was talking to someone about it, and he said, well, they're obviously doing this because they think that he's going to have a Khalil Mack-like impact. But that's going to be a lot harder because safeties are the guys playing back and playing deeper, so he's not going to be pressuring the quarterback every time. So that does bolster their defense a lot, but the question of whether it's going to be worth it is really going to show, I think, early in the year especially, to see how much of an impact he makes.
Well, they already had really good edge rushers, and they had
well,
they lost Clowney though.
Yeah,
I mean, Clowney's actually still out there. Someone could sign Clowney. He just wants too much money. So.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And then I heard some really good inside information on the Broncos. Talking about how good CeeDee Lamb is. Is it CeeDee Lamb?
Jerry Jeudy,
sorry. How good Jerry Jeudy is. And
I'm like his Google.
Huh?
I'm like your Google. He's like, is that name right? And I know I'm your Alexa.
I'm your Alexa. Who's that guy for the Broncos who's like CeeDee Lamb?
Absolutely, you're my encyclopedia. So yeah,
Amazon presents Jared.
Jerry Jeudy, and the other thing is he was saying that that this may be a huge year if Melvin Gordon can stay healthy. It may be a huge year for him because he was talking about he's followed. I remember him. He's the reason I drafted Melvin Gordon back in his rookie year in the first place. He said that Chargers never used Melvin Gordon like they should have, and that this organization wants to run like crazy, and that both him and
Philip Lindsay.
Thank you. It's like better than Google. I don't even have to. Are going to get a lot of touches with Jeudy, with Philip Lindsay getting, maybe 200. No, not 200. Is it 200 touches this year? So, and then Melvin Gordon getting a ton. So I thought that was interesting. He talked about like the coach and the coaching system is there now, and how like he went back into the history of that coaching system. How no number one running back. Oh, look at Sam! Good to have you, Sam. Hey, join us.
Hey!
We're about to draft, Sam. Good to have you. So, anyways, it's interesting. I don't know how much to take it, but it feels good for me as I have a couple big parts of big pieces of old Melvin Gordon. What do you guys think? Any thoughts before we draft?
I think with Melvin Gordon, especially if they use Lindsey right, I think some of the best running backs in the league are ones when they're in a running back tandem. Like when Devonta Freeman and Tevin Coleman got it going really well, they were great. Melvin Gordon and Austin Eckler, when they worked together really well, they were great. This can happen again with Gordon and Lindsey. That way you don't have to have a number one workhorse back that has a high chance of getting injured. And I like the Broncos. I've said that. If I've said it once, I've said it like 70 times on this channel. I really like the Broncos this year, and thus I like Melvin Gordon. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen with him. I think it'll be a good situation for Melvin Gordon this year.
Should be good.
Yeah, I think I value him more than a lot of people seem to. He goes in auction drafts sometimes for under $20. And I've tried to take him every time that he's around like 15, 16. I mean, you think about like the situation he was in last year, you know, I mean, I feel like he's going to be in a better situation this year. I mean, the Chargers just had so many games where they would fall behind, and then they had Austin Eckler in there, you know, that Rivers was dumping passes off to for a while, and then Rivers was just throwing bombs on every play. So, you know, with a better defense, I think, and the Chargers had a good defense on paper, but it just never, the turnovers and stuff just never seemed to put it in good position to hold leads. So I think with a young quarterback and Vic Fangio being a defensive coach, I think there's a lot of potential there, you know, for Melvin Gordon to do well, and Lindsey to be a good value. And the other thing is, you know, even though Lindsey may eat into his touches more than, you know, other situations like Dallas or something like that, or I mean, he will. He just definitely will. The other thing I like about that is comparing it to Dallas, where, you know, I think Pollard, if Zeke goes down, you've got a clear guy to step up that we've seen do well in limited spurts. So it's the same thing in Denver, where if Gordon did go down, you know, I think Lindsey's going to, you know, then take on, you know, more of the bulk of that. So I like the Broncos running game.
Excellent. Okay, well, guys, with that, unless you guys have anything, I think it's what I like to call
it's draft time. It's draft time.
Kenny G at the end.
Every
my favorite.
time. Every stinking time.
Okay, well, I have
man.
in the comment section, I have the link. If you guys, if anybody wants to join us, we got 2 viewers right now. I haven't seen Thomas H in a while. He must be busy.
Yeah.
And also, if any, you know,
And Ryan N, he hasn't been around in a minute too.
And he must be on vacation. But we have a listener league. I will also put our listener league in there for any of you that wants to join our listener.
We have
Yeah.
What's that? I heard
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah, that was me. That was me loading our page to get the link.
Okay, so let's see.
The listener league.
Oh, the listener league?
Yeah.
Wow.
You're in the middle talking about
Yeah, anybody who wants to join our listener league. Now, are you guys on the page?
that. Yeah, I'm here. I'm just not sure which draft we're doing.
Yeah, which one should we do? What do you guys want to do?
I mean, just a 10-team one that's
team?
drafting.
Name one.
I mean, I'm just looking at it now to see like where's one that we can get into that's not filled up.
Right.
I mean, I guess we're gonna have to do the one that's maybe gold. Well,
Coin toss? Oh,
Which one?
they're all called. Where's their names?
They're on the left.
oh wait, this is on. Sorry, I was in auction accidentally. Yeah, let's do coin toss 8129909.
Yeah. All right. I think I'm in.
Okay.
I'm in.
All right. I see. So
I'm in. You
we
better get
are-
in. You better get in fast, Judah.
I'm
There's
not
one
in.
spot. There's one spot.
Never
Ah,
mind.
it's taken.
All right.
We got to try for another
I
one.
thought I was in. What about? I mean, there's one that's got tons of them. 1 minute fake punt, 8129954. Fake punt. Am
That's
I
8.
looking?
That's 8. That's an 8 team.
Oh, okay.
Man, it keeps jumping around, and so it's hard for me to like. Let's
You
see
guys
here.
want to just wait a little bit because these are like filling up like crazy. My goodness.
Well, I don't know if it'll help if we win.
What about the Wildcat one? Now there's 5 spots in the Wildcat 812-9910.
Okay, yeah. Let's do
I'm
that.
in.
I'm in that one.
I'm in. Okay, so if you want to join us,
Yeah.
we are in Wildcat
You have 30 seconds.
8129910.
Sam's got to go.
Okay, bye, Sam. We loved having you. Come back. All right, this will be interesting.
Oh, we
I'm
need
at the
one more.
fourth.
Yeah,
I love
there we
being
go.
the fourth. What? Are we filled up?
Yeah, it filled up. Yeah.
Oh, and we forgot to talk about Joe Burrow getting 35 mil.
Yeah.
Is that a lot? Didn't seem like a lot to me.
It's not what rookie contracts used to be. Like
Mhm.
rookie quarterbacks, I want to say, I can't remember if it was around the time of, it's been a while now. I can't remember if it was around the time of, I mean, we might be going on close to 10 years or so since they kind of restructured it. Maybe it's not been that long, but yeah, it's a different situation than what it used to be. So their latest bargaining agreement, or it may not even be the latest, but at some point the owners were like, yeah, rookies are making a crazy amount of money for guys that are completely unproven coming into this league.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I agree with to a certain extent if they, will pay the veterans, but of course now we see like, running backs don't get paid. And so it's, I don't know that, it's not like that money really went to veterans that much, I don't think, but yeah, I don't know.
I did hear some old veteran talk about how he's going to struggle a lot, especially at the beginning because of the lack of preseason.
Mm-hmm.
A veteran?
A veteran was talking about it. It was some old guy. I can't remember. Somebody you guys
Some
would
old
know.
guy. Do you know what team?
No, I mean, like he doesn't play anymore. He's like an
okay.
analyst now. So that wouldn't be a veteran. That'd be
Tony Gonzalez.
A retired guy?
yeah, some retired
He's
dude.
going to struggle in the booth because of no preseason, or I'm lost on what we're talking about here. And you seem to have mentally checked out of this conversation.
Some things even Amazon's Jared can't solve.
What?
I'm like Google Translate. I take it back. I'm not Alexa or Amazon. I'm like Google Translate for whatever Judah's trying to say. But then sometimes I have to be like, I'm sorry, I did not catch that.
Well, I want to take a minute to notice, AJ, have you upgraded your camera? Because you're compared to what it has been in the past. It's clear. I like it.
Thanks. I realized there was a 720 pixel setting that I just hadn't turned on, so I turned it on.
Oh,
So
I'm
we're
sorry.
good.
Nice. Maybe Jared hasn't done that.
Oh, is mine now lagging behind?
It's not lagging.
No,
it's
yours
just
is good.
it's not as crisp.
I probably
as-
just need mine's probably, I don't know what mine is.
What
Maybe
kind of
mine-
camera do you have?
It's a little Logitech.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be 1080p, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
they
know.
should look better.
Maybe it's lighting. Maybe I need to get one of those little halo lights.
Hmm. Oh, that sounds so
Okay.
sick. That's what happens when you open the Wii menu.
That's like the little countdown to the Hunger Games
Right.
thing,
All
where
right.
it shoots off.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, so surprise, surprise, it goes McCaffrey, Barkley. Now it's gonna get interesting. I think it'll probably be Ezekiel Elliott. But if it's not, I'm going to be so happy. I'm fourth pick. Jared's fifth. And AJ's all the way down at 10. It's interesting. So
I
this
typically draft really late for some reason. I have really bad draft luck with high snake draft picks. Like last year, I think I had one third pick, and then after that, it was all 6 through 12. And so I'm mentally preparing myself. And there goes Zeke.
Yeah, he took Zeke. I'm going to go with Alvin Kamara. How do you think... what is the formula, guys, to get a good grade? Any ideas?
Oh, draft first. Draft
What?
first. If you mean like a good Yahoo grade?
Yeah.
Oh,
grade.
draft first and get Christian McCaffrey and get a quarterback. I've done a lot of snake mock drafts, and typically it's a lot harder if you don't get McCaffrey to get an A.
Interesting.
Went with my man Derrick Henry at 5. Just hard to pass him up at 5 there.
Yeah, that's interesting. We draft so differently, Jared, and so I'm kind of glad you're ahead of me because I don't think you're going to take my guys, and I'm not. And you're probably glad I'm ahead of you in some of these because I'm not going to take your guys.
I actually don't care because this is a mock draft, so I do not care at all.
You're no fun.
I mean, it's enjoyable to do it, but like if you
Alexa,
there will be not a single part of me is like, oh, he took my guy in this mock draft.
Where's the relish when you need it, Alexa?
Jared,
All right.
order 10 buckets of relish shipped to one Judah Buddha.
Yeah.
Second place Lane.
The other person that's flying up my draft boards, my rankings. I think we should do rankings very soon. Is Chubb. I just think he's going to go off this year. I think he may be the number one. Oh, it's my turn next already. I think he may be the number one wide receiver, the number one running back. That's what happens when I try to draft and talk. Sanders. Just watching his tape, the best run of the whole year last year, and I'm going to go with Catal. It was the one where he got stripped. He was gone. If it wasn't for just the amazing ability of what's that guy's name who's on the Patriots? He's just that amazing defender.
Dante Hightower, Kyle Van Noy, one of the McCourty twins.
I think it was Van Noy. Who's the safety?
Devin McCourty.
Yeah, it was McCourty.
Okay.
Yeah, Devin McCourty just outran him. And he just didn't see him. And he's not somebody who has a lot of fumbles. I think he had 3 in his whole career.
Wow.
That one included. So I'm not worried about fumbles. I just love watching that run. He has so much cutting ability and vision for the field. Beautiful.
Well, on another note, while we're waiting for Judah Buddha to get his pick in, Ryan N is back. Just talking about it. Wondering where he was.
Oh, you missed the draft.
He did. Yeah, you don't get here early. You miss a lot.
Yeah.
You got to join our listener league, though, Ryan.
Why don't you give me some good picks for me to pick, Ryan? Let's see. I want to go with. Ooh, this is tough. There's a lot of good players on the board right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people took Lamar and Patrick, so
I'm shocked. Allen Robinson went above Chris Godwin and Kenny Galladay.
That's really weird. He was included in the top 100 this week.
Yep.
And what was it? In experts?
No, I think it's players, right? Top 100 is the players.
Okay. No, but so players make the top 100?
Yeah, they vote on it.
Oh, they vote on it. Okay.
Every year. Ryan said he's working 7 days a week, and he always passes out now.
Oof.
Understandable.
Man. 7 days a week? What do you do, Ryan?
That is rough.
That is rough. 7 days a week. Dude, take a Sabbath. This reminds me, I teach a class online. It's on Zoom, and the students don't have any video or audio. And so it's all me saying, blah, 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 blah. So what do you guys think about that?
Mm-hmm.
Put your answers in the chat.
That would be rough. That would be rough to have no feedback at all. Like if you just had video or you just had audio, you had some sort of feedback. But to have nothing, that's tough.
Yeah, I did not enjoy.
So can they? Is there some sort of like chat screen you can see?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Zoom has a chat, so but it would be like, please put your answer in the chat. Are
So
you
like,
typing right now?
uh,
I think it'd make a really good. I need to think about it for like a skit, funny skit. Oh, Carson. Carson's another guy I'm looking at. Everything's looking nice for him.
Mhm.
Your guys is.
I like Chris Carson. I took a lot of Chris Carson last year. I don't have a ton of stock in him this year because he's going higher. He's coming off an injury. I don't know. I just haven't ended up with a lot of, but I don't know. We'll see. I'll have more drafts. So.
Well, I bet you I know who you're going to take. Oh, I don't know. It's going to be tough between DJ Moore, Todd Gurley, and Calvin Ridley.
I
Those are
love
your boys.
how you're trying to play mind games with Jared, and Jared's just silent and completely locked in.
Just like, I don't care, dude.
Yeah, I gotta go.
That's
Running
who
back.
I guessed. I thought you were going to go with.
Yeah, I mean, if I, out of those first 5 rounds, I want to come out with 3 running backs usually.
What's it called? By the way, Ryan said, to answer your question, Judah Buddha, he works at an apartment complex, and it's peak season right now.
Oh. Peak COVID season? What does he mean, peak season? Like people moving in?
I guess so. You would think that that everything that's going on would disrupt, maybe change things around, but I guess not.
I mean, people still got to live in places.
Yeah. Good that he's working though, still with everything going on.
Yeah,
Good for you, man.
Actually saw Ford tweeted today about he was apartment or like putting his money down on an apartment or whatever. So apparently
he's buying like an apartment.
Yeah, I don't know why he's moving out of that place they had moved into because they were like renovating that. So I don't know what happened, but I asked him, I'm like, are you already moving out of there? And he's like, yep, this week. So
get out. Wow. Oh, my draft. Sorry. All right, here we go. So Raheem Mostert got a deal. Does that make any difference for you guys?
Yeah, it does. Actually, we forgot to talk about that. No, I think that's good for him. I think he's a lot of people probably got him at a pretty good value.
I think this is a good value. What, 5th round, 4th round?
Fifth round, yeah. And I know, Jared, you've been super high on him the whole offseason.
Yeah. But then once all that came up, I was like, ugh. So probably haven't taken as much stock in him as I should have.
Man.
Another guy I'm liking better as we get closer towards the season now is Ertz.
Really? Not me.
Yeah, because I mean, we think every year like, oh, is target share is going to go down, and I mean it's not going to be it's not going to be what it was that one year where he had just an insane amount. But again, you look at Philadelphia's weapons. Alshon Jeffrey out to start the season. Marquise Goodwin just opted out. You've got Rager, a rookie, on one side. You've got Deshaun Jackson. So, I mean, I think you can pretty much just like pencil Zach Ertz in for another, 85 catches, 90 catches, 1,000-ish yards, 7 touchdowns. I mean, he's not going to have, I think, some of the upside of somebody like Mark Andrews or Kelsey, but I mean, I'm just
such a Goddard fan.
But I mean, I think there's room for both of them. I mean, I think they're going to need both, as thin as that receiver core is again.
Yeah, that's true. I have to go back and see what the target share was last year. I just feel like his body gets so beat up every year. He's gonna have to fall off precipitously at some point, soon.
but he's not that. I mean, let's see. I guess he's 29. He hasn't turned 30 yet, but
So Ryan says move-ins contracts start in August. Oh, he must be near a school too.
oh, I bet that is it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think of that. All right, let's see. I think things are looking up for my man Deshaun. Let's see what that does for me.
Well, Ryan, it's good that we're happy you're spending your time with us, your limited time.
Yeah, man, get some rest if you know. Or maybe he's like, oh, I'll turn on the Rotor Hackers. That'll put me right to bed.
David Johnson fell a little bit. That's interesting.
Yeah, he did. Normally he's like a round 5 guy, maybe, round 6. Sometimes it goes in there, but yeah.
Which is crazy because this guy was like almost MVP caliber 2016.
Look at how far Delvin Singletary has dropped.
I got him for, if you saw that screen cap I sent, I got him for $7.
I was pretty surprised.
Yeah.
I
I normally would never draft this guy, but I mean, in the middle of the 7th round, I'll take Le'Veon.
There it is.
Yeah, that's not a bad pick. That's actually a really good pick. But what do you think it is about Singletary? Moss is not going to have the preseason,
I think people are just worried about how many touchdowns he's going to get because Josh Allen vultures so many. They've already said that Moss is going to take over that Frank Gore role. So I think, but I mean, at some point, he's
going to be a starting running back still,
right? Right. Yeah, I think for $7 in an auction draft or as a round 7 pick or so, that's pretty good.
For Le'Veon too, though, it's like, come on.
Yeah.
Gore isn't going to take that much from him, And who's the other guy?
Pirine, the Pirine kid they drafted.
Pirine the second.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there are some running backs who are being undervalued. I think, we've talked about Damian Williams. I think he's being undervalued, and that CEH is being a little bit overvalued. I think Marlon Mack's being undervalued. I think Le'Veon's being undervalued. Devin Singletary's being undervalued. People just, I don't know. People tend to think that if you're not a young stud, that you're just worthless, so.
Which to me, this year, that's just the wrong perspective.
I agree. Yeah.
I think everything's going to be in flux. I think not just are they not going to have the preseason, but things are going to be a little helter-skelter, especially at the beginning of the year, You're not going to have some of these, I think, for the most part, coaches are just going to want to keep things, as much like last year as possible, at least at the beginning, because we still don't know who's going to be, opting out or on the list. So, if I was a coach, I'd be like, let's not change anything. Rookie, sit on the bench for a while.
Yeah.
Until somebody gets COVID,
Yeah.
Okay, who's up? I'm up in 2. Oh, JP, you're right before me. Who are you thinking, man? You love Darius Geis.
Do I?
No. No, you do love you some AJ.
At that spot when I've only got 2 receivers, I'll take AJ. I'll take the old veterans that people have given up on Le'Veon Bell and AJ Green. If they drop far enough, I'll take them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't see a lot going on here. I'm starting to.
See, the best part is, Judah Buddha, I can look at your screen now since you're the one streaming it.
That's right. I don't have anybody starred though. Who did I get?
Darius, guys. No,
I
sorry.
got-
Marquise Brown.
Oh, nice.
Hollywood.
Hollywood. I
like-
like getting Marquise Brown.
I like how you are surprised by your own picks.
I didn't pick that. That was the machine.
I know, but it doesn't matter the reason why. For someone to be surprised, who'd I get? Oh, I can't wait to find out. That's awesome.
I
It's like
tried
a
to
Christmas present.
I tried clicking Damian Williams at the last minute. I think Damian Williams is steal at this
I do
level.
too.
Right
Oh,
now.
yeah.
I do too.
Well, that stinks for me because you two are ahead of me, so I know I'm not getting him.
I don't think we will. Well, we might. I think Marlon Mack is a steal at this.
Really?
Yeah. You know who else? Ronnie Jones might
Harry?
be.
Yeah, he just went.
Mm.
Oh, okay, good. All right. Because with Keyshawn Vaughn having the
Yep.
COVID and just not getting any kind of. All right, well, it looks like I get my Damian Williams anyway.
I like how we have kickers going back to back in the
Yep.
ninth.
Oh, Philip Lindsay's still on there. We're just talking about him, right? I saw that I kind of went a little too light on running backs, and so I'm looking at getting a little stable. And since I have Kittle already at tight end and Watson as QB, I'm not although I do want to get a good defense and kicker. Because
When have you ever wanted to get a good defense and kicker? That does not sound like you.
mock drafts, dude? It doesn't matter.
He's caring about that score now.
That score. All right. Do we have anybody watching right now? Ryan went to bed.
Take it by your
Probably.
silence. That means no. We got 2 viewers here. We're still in. And hello to everyone watching afterwards.
Hello. I'm curious, Ryan. Do you live near I'm curious where you live. If you don't mind, revealing that.
You want your address, if you
On
want to give your
screen.
social security and your credit card, he'll take all that.
I do need your address, though. I need to send you a shirt.
Yeah, we have the address in the Roto Hackers email.
Oh, we have it?
Yeah, and we've got all the information. I'll tell you after the stream.
I'm going right now to see where you live. Oh, is that me or you?
That is Jared.
Who do you take?
Took Brady.
Yeah.
Mm.
Wow, J.K. Dobbins is gone.
Mm.
Dang it. Philly Lindsay, though. Nah, I'm going to go with Marlon Mack.
See, this is the point where I really believe we're scraping the barrel here of like second. There's like a couple gem tight ends, second wide receivers, and then this is all handcuffs at this point to me. And Evan Ingram.
See, I've done so many best ball drafts where there's like 20 rounds. And so like by like 18, 19, 20. So I'm sitting here looking at, at round 11, like, look at all these good players left.
T. Higgins is still on the board? No way.
Right.
That's interesting. You've been doing a lot of best ball. That's
They opened it back up. They shut it down
Mm.
for, I don't know, a week or more. And then it came back. I don't know what that was all about.
You
Are there any
overloaded their servers with the amount of best ball drafts you were
Maybe.
doing.
Are there any high dollar ones? Like
Oh yeah, I don't know what they go up to, but I think I've done all mostly like $5 or $1 drafts. I think I've done a couple of 10s. Maybe I did one above 10, but it's just a bunch. I have a ton of teams, but you don't have to manage them, and it's all, cobble them all together. And I don't know if I have, $40 in. Maybe I do. I've done several $5 ones, but it's interesting because your perspective just changes entirely because you're drafting so deep and you're taking 3 quarterbacks usually and stuff like that. So
interesting. Man, it's slim pickings for the kickers. Jeez.
yeah, the big guys, Butker, Lutz, and Tucker all went off the board pretty early.
This is slim pickings for kickers for you? You just got Matt Prater, Robbie Gold, the picture of consistency. You still got Zane Gonzalez up here?
I guess he wants an elite guy.
There's some gems in here.
I wanted elite. I don't ever like if this is a real draft. There's no way I would draft any of these guys. These jamokes. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Forget about it.
Yeah, I think that New England defense has got to be bumped down, and I would bump Seattle. I would bump Seattle up. I was already liking Seattle
Really?
a little bit, as not as like a one that I would draft necessarily out of the gate, but
Kind of keeping your eye on them.
keep an eye, and keep an eye on them, and especially for a team if I decided not to take a defense. And I was going to need to pick up one off the waiver wire later, then Seattle was one of those that I kind of had my eye on. So before, so now especially. Oh, there went Philip Lindsay.
Right here. I got Melvin Gordon, so I wanted to get him as a handcuff.
I think
Just in case.
that's a good idea. Taking them both. You could play Lindsey in your flex.
Mm-hmm.
Play Melvin Gordon as your 2, RB2.
Got to go with that hometown.
Yeah, I got it. At some point, the homer in me's got to just say, yep, you got to take him.
Wait,
Team
who?
loyalty means something.
Chicago?
Yeah, he took Chicago. Oh, I was going to take Jerry Jeudy.
Ooh.
Judy's off the board?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's interesting they took Vaughn. I don't know.
I mean, it's still early in his COVID list. Like football, if it starts, doesn't start for another month. So
No, I know. I
Be
just
okay.
but for a mock draft, I guess you kind of want to see where he'd go.
yeah, I know we didn't mention it, but because it doesn't really correlate to football, but it worries me. I'll wait for you two to do your picks real quick before I bring this up.
Let's see if there's anybody.
Williams, huh? There's not. This is Slim Perkins. I don't know.
So real quick, what I was thinking about saying is, so if you guys haven't noticed, and Judah, if you haven't noticed, 17 players in the Miami Marlins have tested positive for COVID, players and coaches. And so a bunch of games have been canceled. And a lot of people are wondering now, well, that's already one thing with baseball. They're already having to cancel a week of games. What's going to happen if something happens like that in football, which is a lot more close contact? That's a lot scarier. What do you guys think?
Yeah. The tough thing about it is, baseball can play double headers. Football can't play double headers because players would be dead. So,
right.
that's going to be the real issue. Is baseball's got more flexibility to move stuff around. Plus, with baseball already, they're playing a third of a season, not even a third of a season. It's already kind of like, yeah, okay, it's kind of a season. But if the NFL is wanting to keep it legitimate, yeah, that could make things very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said in the thread, I really think that we are going to. Yeah, so Ryan N says mock drafts go really fast.
The snakes don't take too long, fortunately. As long as you don't have like 7 people auto drafting, they go pretty quick, fortunately.
Oh, jeez. I don't know. Who did I
Did
drop
you?
this burger?
I like. Yeah. Again.
Surprise!
All right.
I
Yeah.
mean-
So I talked about this guy earlier in the podcast, and I'm going to take Jalen Reagor.
Nice.
It's a good call. So I am really afraid that we are not going to get any kind of resolution to the COVID thing. It's just going to keep getting worse and worse. Actually, Jared, your discussion with me earlier on, you're one of the first ones who discussed it with me, has really shaped my thinking more than anything else. When you said,
I mean, that's what I try to do with you on every topic. But go ahead.
when you said that China, the way they put a stop to it was they kept people from going home, and they did rigorous testing, but not just the swab, thing, but they did the 3-step thing where they did the fever tents, the blood test, and the CT scan of the lungs, so that they could know if you had it. And if you really had it, boom, you're in the tent for 2 weeks, buddy. Because they're really showing, a lot of studies are showing right now that people are going home and taking it home, and it's just spreading it home.
Right. I mean, that's the easiest place to spread it. So yeah.
So now the only thing is that we could just burn out real fast. Like it could just get spread like crazy this next 2 months.
But people have been saying that's not going to happen. Like on any meaningful level, it could burn out in spots, but not overall. It's not.
Well, if it burns out in Texas, Florida, and because they've been burning, it's my turn again. They've been burning pretty hot. Oh, okay. They've been burning pretty hot as it is. They're pretty high up in the deaths, and actually their death, the cases are starting to come down. It's just the deaths are a lagging indicator. I don't know. I don't know. I'll take my man. I need to go with if we get through, if we could see a lot of these major metropolis. Now, the one I'm really worried about is Illinois, Chicago, because they have been shut down forever. I mean, up until a couple weeks ago, AJ?
Yeah, it's been a couple weeks ago. Things have started opening back up, but the whole time, lockdown's technically over, but there's still this tentative feeling of we have to stay inside. I mean, but the construction crews are back, so I mean, that's signaling that Illinois is getting back to normal. But what we're worried about most is when winter breaks, because especially if flu spreads and Illinois is freezing cold and all that, it's just going to be a lot of things on top of each other.
The whole winter thing, though, I think has been shown to be not that big of a deal, and I'll tell you why. I was talking to my doctor friend about this. Because of air conditioning. It's been such a hot summer, and so many people with the COVID and everything have been staying inside. It might as well be winter. Everybody's got the windows shut, everybody's staying inside. It's not much different than winter. Usually what the summer does is people open up their windows, everybody goes outside,
Yeah, but the issue with winter, or the issue that I've been hearing people worry about, is having COVID on top of the flu, overrunning hospitals.
Yeah, I mean, that could be. But the instances of flu went down so much. during COVID because of all the measures people are taking. Who should I take? Who would you guys take? Is it my turn? It's my turn, right? Yeah.
Yes, it was.
I got who I wanted. Emmanuel
Okay.
Sanders.
That's not bad. I approve of that.
So I mean, what we could see the second surge. The only one, like I said, I'm really worried about is Illinois, because Illinois is yet to see. Now, it's interesting though because Florida hasn't even gotten close to the level. Well, I think it is about the levels that Illinois is at, or was at its peak. So like 130 deaths a day. That's what Illinois was at its peak.
Oof.
And that's probably about where I think they had 180 today, maybe in Florida.
I think it's just going to be like whack-a-mole, where it spikes up in places, and then they're going to be like, okay, we gotta be more serious about it. We got to get this fire under control. And then the places where it's gone down, it's like, oh, we're fine now. No big deal. Let's just go back to normal. Oh. And then all of a sudden it's, back up there. So I think it's just, it's going to go up in places and then down. And then, so I don't know.
What was that?
I don't know. For some reason, the timer keeps ticking for me.
Yeah, no, it's done. The draft's done. It gives you like 15 minutes to look over it if you want.
And it beeps the whole time, I guess.
Not for me.
No,
it keeps beeping for me.
Really? Mine's not beeping
Yeah,
either.
maybe because I picked Mr. Irrelevant. Maybe.
Well, let's see what our teams look like.
Team review.
All right, how do you go to that? What do you do?
You go to teams and then click whichever person you want.
Can't you look at like grades or no?
That's after you leave the room.
Yeah,
Sorry, I'm beating out the Amazon's Jared here.
No, it's fine. Yeah, no, you get it emailed to you. I mean, I don't know if you have to leave the room. It may just email to you.
Man, I'm
yeah. Here it is. I just got it. Oh, I got an A.
What?
Let's
see. Let's look at our teams real quick.
Get out of here. Yeah, I'm just above AJ at number 5.
and I picked 10th.
Yeah, 10's not bad.
Yeah. Well, I mean.
Oh, for picking first.
Picking 10th. Yeah, I'll take 6th place. I can work with that. That's what the waiver wire is for.
Well, unfortunately, we're not going to have a waiver wire. Where did they fault me?
Well, what's your team right now? So you got Deshaun at quarterback. You got Beckham and Ridley as your 1-2. You've got Kamara and then Mostert, Kittle, Singletary, Hollywood, Damian Williams, Marlon Mack, Roethlisberger, Madison, and Sanders with Greg the Leg and KC.
I think
they're probably just dinging me for wide receivers and just kind of lackluster running.
I think RB2. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Kind of RB2, wide receiver 3 is probably where they're dinging you.
Yeah.
Dang it.
Okay, let's take a look at Jared's. I got to see what his is. Breeze, Godwin and Chark, Henry and Sanders. That's scary. Ertz, Gurley, Le'Veon, AJ, Brady, Williams, Rager, Darrell Henderson, Dallas Goedert, no kicker, and Pittsburgh's defense. That's how, because he didn't draft a kicker.
I think Gurley is going to be somebody Gurley. If you can get Gurley and who did we talk about earlier? Just a great because look how far. When did
Carson?
Carson, Gurley. No, it was somebody else we talked about.
Yeah.
Get later on.
Yeah, I mean, I took Gurley in the 4th, and I mean, you can get him in auctions for $25. I mean, you can add up for $100. I mean, that's half your roster, but you could put together about 4 pretty solid running backs from. Well, no. I'll take that back. I'll say for 65. maybe $85-ish. You could have like Gurley, Carson, James Conner, and Chris Carson.
It's not bad.
You know, I mean, you're kind of going with volume and hoping that that Gurley in his new setting does really well, or that Connor does more like he did 2 years ago with Ben back, but you've got a lot of depth there. And that's this season, I'm really having to consider my team strategy approach because I'm very scared to take a Christian McCaffrey where you're sinking $75-$80 of your budget in, and then he might get COVID and then be out for 3 weeks.
Yeah, you don't just have to worry about a broken ankle anymore.
Right.
It's like COVID is just so it'll take him out 3 weeks. Gee, might as well get a broken ankle.
Yeah, it's making me rethink my draft strategy this year somewhat but I tend to not draft a lot of the one going with the stud who was the stud last year, and
you like to have like the all in the third round type thing.
Yeah, a lot of second round, third round guys, because I mean it's hard to pass on a guy like Christian McCaffrey, but for the money and for the COVID risk this season, it's I don't know if I can do it. Zeke would be the one. Yeah. He would be the one because he's already had it.
And he's just overall more durable than everybody else.
Yeah.
Maybe not more than McCaffrey, but I mean that dude is a beast. He's just built like he's got huge ankles, he's got a huge butt, he's just like I think I love taking him early. There was somebody else who was falling. Maybe it was Gurley. Let me go back and look at our draft. How do I look at the draft here? Oh, okay.
Draft results?
Yeah. What?
None. Good.
Show picks. It won't let me scroll for some reason. Okay, so yeah, let's go to draft results. There was somebody like in the fourth round. I was like, are you kidding me? Well, Jacobs went late in the second round. I noticed Eckler's been falling, but that makes sense. There's not going to be a lot of plays played in that from that team.
From San Diego or from LA?
Yeah, LA Chargers.
You don't think there'll be a lot of plays?
Neither.
Wait. Jacobs, you're saying Chargers?
No, I'm talking about. I'm sorry. I went to Austin Eckler.
All right.
I'm sorry. Yeah. But for Josh Jacobs, I think he's going to be a beast. But for Austin Eckler, neither Tygod nor what's his name, Herbert, are guys that are going to be running a ton of plays. Per game.
Yeah, Eckler worries me a little bit because he's so dependent on catching the ball, and if they're not dumping off the way Rivers does, he does scare me. Jacobs, I saw a thing the other day that's making me like him more. Again, not that I'd ever really like fallen out of favor with him, but just generally where I would pick in the 7th round, it seemed like in snake drafts, either all the top running backs would be gone or they'd all be available. And then I'd take somebody like Kenyon Drake or something. But so they had a thing the other day that said ESPN's Paul Gutierrez, I don't know if he's the Raiders beat writer or what, I would assume so, expects running back Josh Jacobs to see more involvement in the Raiders passing game this season. So it's just, it's more not passing, it's not a team source, but I mean, I think that would make sense. I think he did, okay, like catching the dump offs at Alabama. So
and he was playing with last year. He was playing with a broken back, man. The other guy was Melvin Gordon, late in the 3rd. Come on, I think that's if he could be a little bit of a risk, but if he has a breakout late in his life season.
Well, for me though, keep in mind I drafted Gordon knowing that after that I wouldn't be able to pick again for 18 picks in a row. So I needed a running back in round 3 and 4 back to back. So
No, I'm
Gordon
saying
was
that's a
the best
good
one there.
pick. I
Yep.
would take
Nice.
Gordon in the early in the
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. So when he fell, it was so funny because since we had talked about him earlier, I was listening to you guys converse about it, and I'm just hitting here like, don't take Gordon. Don't take Gordon. Don't take Gordon. Don't take Gordon. Yes. Let's go.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
go ahead.
I was hoping him or Gurley fell to me. Why is Gurley going behind Gordon though?
People are worried about his knee, just injury concerns.
Mhm.
But like what I was saying was, McCaffrey typically goes about the cheapest you can ever get him, 75. Maybe he goes a dollar or two lower than that. I've seen him go a lot of times. He goes 80, 81, 82, something like that. You could have for maybe about $10 more than McCaffrey. You could have Gurley, Gordon, Carson, and Connor. I mean, that's that is just, in a year like this where you've got so many risks about a guy and you've got all these guys like, again, Gordon is in a new situation that could turn out better for him. Connor's getting his quarterback back where he did well with him 2 years ago. Gurley is going to, a new team and, if he's healthy. So you've got all these guys. And so I just tend to like to take, it's almost like real drafts where, GMs, especially like the Colts GM Ballard or the Patriots or whoever, they like to trade back and get more picks because it gives you more shots, So I think that's going to be more of my approach this year because now we're getting into, I've only done a couple of teams that are over like $20. I've done a bunch of like little $20 teams, but now we're getting to auction season where you can draft some bigger dollar teams. And so I've kind of just been diversifying my portfolio up to this point, and now I have to be more serious if I want to do bigger money teams. And so I think that's going to be more my strategy this year.
It's not a bad idea. Let's look at AJ's team real quick, and then I got to go.
All right.
Stafford, decent. Tyreek, man, I loved watching you. Who mentioned the race they did? That guy's built like a freaking cheetah, man.
That's why he's the cheetah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And then AJ Brown, excellent. I think those are good buys. Nick Chubb, I love Nick Chubb. I know Jared doesn't like him. Melvin Gordon, I love Melvin Gordon.
It's not that I don't like Chubb, but
Swift, I'm a big fan of Swift. Hurst, I love Hurst, and and Jared does too. That's a good buy. Montgomery, I've been sort of. I got Montgomery and who did I get? I got in a trade. I got Montgomery and Gurley for somebody. It was a little bit painful to make the trade, but I was like, Montgomery he could end up being a really good value. Diggs, I love Diggs. Philip Lindsay, we talked about him today. Ryan Tannehill, interesting. Anthony Miller, of course. Homer. You got anything that stuck out to you when you were drafting? You already talked about like wanting to get Melvin Gordon.
For me, I really primarily went for depth here, especially at running back and wide receiver. So I got Lindsey to back up Gordon. I thought about taking Mecole to back up Tyreek, but someone took him before I could grab him. And so I just kind of loaded up on wide receivers and running backs. I got 5 running backs, I think, and 5 wide receivers, I think it was. And so I got Tannehill just in case, because I know Stafford's incredible, but Tannehill's also could be a nice play. And then I got Robbie Gould in Chicago. So I primarily went for depth with this team, and I like what I got. I would go into battle with this team.
Yeah, I would too.
Nice.
Other than Matthew Stafford.
Really?
I'm souring on Swift and all the rookie running backs. Although Swift is my favorite, I'm souring on these rookies. I still like the team. I would just switch, Montgomery for Swift, and that would be or
if
Diggs.
Montgomery's got a bad matchup, I go Diggs. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got a good bench, you got a good team.
Thanks.
Both you guys did excellent.
Thank you,
Have
sir.
we already
You as
looked
well.
we looked at JP. I was going to talk about this real quickly about the Chris Godwin. Did you guys see that the beef between Godwin and Keenan Allen? And
No,
well, I guess it was
I didn't see that.
it was actually Evans, Mike Evans. But
Hmm.
so Mike Evans and Godwin were ranked above
Keenan.
Keenan Allen.
Oh,
And he was like, "Oh, maybe in speed, yeah, all day,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't get the same kind of separation." And I was like,
Yeah.
"Really?" And I looked at the stats, and it's hard to say. They're all sort of at the same level. So whoever
Mhm.
was ranking him was just kind of like, "Oh."
Yeah, it's really hard to say with guys like that where they've had different quarterbacks and they're slightly different types of players. Like, I really would be interested to see, like, if you put all those guys with the same quarterback,
Yeah,
who would have better numbers, So I did see that. I saw where Keenan had said that. I didn't see if they responded or whatever, but yeah, that was kind of funny.
mm-hmm.
because the other guy that was ahead of him was Tyreek, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Tyreek's way ahead of you."
And it didn't help that Phillip Rivers was throwing like just balloons in the sky last year. That didn't help his
Mhm.
case at all.
Yeah, that's
No.
true. I think he caught 100% of everything thrown to him, though. Like, or if it was like within a certain range or something. I saw some stat that like blew me away about his hands.
Hmm.
If it wasn't 100, it was like really close.
Interesting.
Anyways,
What's it called? 710 showed up right at the end for us here.
710. Oh, he joined the Listener League, by the way. I
Yeah, he
think.
did.
Okay,
He did.
good,
He's
'cause
in.
his name was 7,
Mhm.
and I figured that was 710. All right. Well,
What's it
thanks
called?
for
Before
joining.
we go, I had this. I was looking. So you know how what's it called? Jared, what was it? You finished second in like the Yahoo ranking or whatever. On there, was
Oh.
it
Was
Uh-huh.
it first or second?
second? Okay, and I was sixth, and you were fifth, right, Judah? Right?
Mhm.
Am I correct about that? Okay. So I got a C- with that. It said my strengths is wide receiver and bench, weak at quarterback and tight end. Tight end I'll give you all day. But then I clicked on like the view projected standings, and that's the best. So Jared has the second best starters and the third, and however they rank this, and the third best bench. I have the 8th best starters, but the best bench.
Wow. I do like your bench.
Yeah, me too. Judah, you have the 6th best bench and the 9th best starters. So according to whatever ranking that is, Jared's
I wouldn't
first
disagree.
by
I
a
wouldn't
slim
disagree.
margin, by 3 points. I'm
I agree.
7th and Judah Boot is 9th.
I got a D.
Overall.
They gave me a D.
Oof,
So-
that's rough.
That was a fail.
That's rough.
710 said I was running errands and missed most of the stream.
That's all right.
It'll
Come
be
back
there
later.
to watch. It'll be there
The
to
one-
watch later.
The one to be at, guys, is be lookout where I'm going to type it out. I'm going to send it out. Facebook, email is when we do the draft for our Listener League. That's going to be really
Mhm.
important.
It's
to all be
currently scheduled like August 30th, but we
It's like
want
a
to do that
Sunday
on
night.
stream or something probably.
Yeah, I put it on a Sunday night. I don't know why. I just picking randomly. I just needed to get it done.
Yeah.
But yeah, I probably should have done it on like a Saturday. I also wanted to do it as late as possible in August so we know
Yeah.
what's going on.
Right.
After you initially wanted to do it like a week ago.
Hey, I'm like either early or later. I don't like in betweens now.
That's one of my favorite things about these podcasts is Judah's 180s from one thing to another. From Derrick
Yep.
Henry, Chris Carson, and Calvin Ridley are trash to they're the best players ever. And from can we have the Listener League draft right now? Literally, like, can you call somebody and do it right now? No, let's do it like the day before the season starts. I changed my mind.
I'm guilty. Yeah, you might need a neck brace watching the show.
Yeah, 710 says he asked if we can move it up a little bit, give it time for start trading and stuff.
Yeah, we probably should.
Yeah, it's like a placeholder right now, just for now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, time's flying. Is it August yet?
No,
No.
it's not.
Okay. But
Fortunately.
it's close. All right, guys. Well, I gotta go. Son's already
right.
falling asleep. I will see you guys later. We want to skip Saturday again. Kind of play it by ear.
Yeah, I guess let's play
Yeah.
it by ear. I don't know what I'm
Okay.
doing or what the weather looks like or anything. So
Okay. All right. Well, I will post it on Facebook whether or not we're gonna do it. We'll text each other, and if you want to keep up with that stuff, guys, 710, go to Facebook. I think you might have already liked it, our fan page. Anyhow, good night, everybody, and
And join our listener league.
join our listener league. I don't know. Bye.